New York was a global powerhouse, it was a fragile outpost built from mud, timber, ambition, and empire. What if I told you this city changed hands without a single shot fired? Before we begin, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because today we're stepping back into New York in the 1600s when its future was anything but certain. In the early 1600s, the island at the mouth of the Hudson River shifted like a frontier wind. It began as a modest Dutch trading post called New Amsterdam, a rough settlement of wooden houses, muddy lanes, and a small fort standing against the wilderness. This was not yet a city of towers and lights. It was a crossroads of ambition, balanced on the edge of a vast continent. In 1609, the arrival of Henry Hudson marked the first European foothold along the river that would one day bear his name. His crew stepped onto a wooded, tidal shoreline already alive with Lenape trade routes. It was a quiet moment, uncertain and unadorned, but it opened the door to everything that followed. By 1626, Dutch officials secured Manhattan through an exchange later valued at 24 guilders worth of trade goods. The deal was practical, misunderstood across cultures, and deeply consequential. It gave the Dutch a foothold they moved quickly to fortify. Building New Amsterdam meant relentless, back-breaking labor. Settlers felled thick Manhattan forests with hand axes, dragged heavy logs through mud, and raised homes, warehouses, and palisades one beam, one plank, one hard-earned day at a time. That same year, Fort Amsterdam rose at the southern tip of Manhattan, a rough barrier of earth and timber guarding the young colony. It was both a shield and a statement of intent. This foothold was meant to last. In 1644, Dutch leaders and native nations negotiated fragile treaties after years of bloodshed. Promises were traded, trust was thin, and peace came not from unity but from exhaustion. Still, it allowed the settlement to breathe and rebuild. By 1655, enslaved Africans were being brought to New Amsterdam in growing numbers. Sold by the Dutch West India Company, their forced labor became woven into docks, farms, and households. This was a quiet but brutal turning point, bondage becoming a permanent part of the city's early economy. Inside a New Amsterdam home, life unfolded in a single crowded room. Families rose early to the smell of porridge and wood smoke. Children fetched water. Adults mended nets, cut firewood, and salted meat for winter. Life was modest, disciplined, and communal, every task driven by survival in a fragile settlement. Then, in 1664, English warships appeared in the harbor. Their cannons faced the fort, but no battle followed. Outnumbered and divided, the Dutch surrendered quietly. Without a single shot fired, New Amsterdam passed to English control and gained a new name, New York. The Treaty of Breda in 1667 sealed the transfer. Dutch hopes of reclaiming the colony faded as New York's future became firmly tied to the English Empire. For one brief moment in 1673, Dutch ships returned, reclaiming the city and renaming it New Orange. But diplomacy moved faster than cannons. Within a year, the city was English again. The moment was only a flicker of the old Dutch world before it disappeared for good. By the late 1670s, the old Dutch Stadthouse served as New York's City Hall, still central, still useful, even under English rule. The population surged past 4,000, trade expanded, and the port grew louder and busier. The great dock stretched into the East River, unloading sugar, tobacco, and furs from across the Atlantic. What had once been a small outpost was becoming a vital link in imperial trade. Despite English control, the city still looked Dutch. Steep gables, brick facades, thick wooden beams. New York itself was in transition, a blend of cultures still shaping its identity. The old defensive wall along what would become Wall Street marked the settlement's northern edge. Nearby, the Watergate guarded the flow of people and goods into the town. By 1689, unrest spread after England's Glorious Revolution. Militia units drilled on the commons, taverns buzzed with argument. New York lived in uneasy suspense, caught between rumor, uncertainty, and the shifting tide of empire. By the century's end, Pearl Street had become one of the city's busiest lanes, alive with merchants, sailors, and craftsmen. The smell of tar, spices, and river wind filled the air. New York was no longer just surviving, it was becoming. If you enjoyed this reconstruction, hit like. Subscribe for more historical deep dives.